Hello, welcome to this channel. We are going to be looking at the 22nd week of the year. Time is a gate, and a new gate has opened. Is the gate of the 22nd week. It's also the gate of the fourth 7 weeks of the year. So we're going to be looking at this. I should have about 8 things to share with you about the 22nd week. But I'm going to be looking at, I'll just share 4 things in this video, and you can visit my website to read more about the 22nd week, and I'll put the link on the description so you can go there and read more about the 22nd week. But before I go into the 4 things that I would like to share concerning the 22nd week, let me just say that this 22nd week is a new beginning. It's the beginning of the fourth 7 weeks of the year, and I'm going to have another video on the fourth 7 weeks. There's another video on the fourth 7 weeks that you also need to watch to be able to understand where the 22nd belongs. So look out for this video. As you watch the 22nd week, also watch the video on the fourth 7 weeks of the year. The fourth 7 weeks of the year will run from May 28th to July 15th. So watch out for that video. The first of the 4 things I want to share is that the 22nd week is an end point. When you come into the 22nd, something is about to end. How do we know that? The 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet is the last. The Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters, and the 22nd is the last. So it's the last, and so it's an end point. Prophetically, it's an end point. So we're not just when the Hebrew or the Jew counts 1 to 22. Prophetically, it's like going from the beginning to the end. There are 2 books in the Bible that end at the 22nd chapter. The 22nd chapter, the first is the book of Kings, and the 22nd chapter, that's where Ahab died to fulfill the word of the Lord. The reign of Ahab came to an end in the 22nd chapter of First Kings. The other book that ends at the 22nd chapter is the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible itself. So the last book of the Bible has 22 chapters. So the last book of the Bible ends at the 22nd chapter. And that's very significant. And that's the book where Jesus speaks of himself as, I am the beginning and the end. I am like 1 and 22. So when we come into the 22nd week, it is in order that we expect that certain things should come to an end, especially things that are negative, things that are contrary to the will of God. We expect that this 22nd week is an end point for anything that is not in the will of God for my life in this season or in this year. It's a time of the year to hold on to. I say, Lord, as the Hebrew alphabet ends with the 22nd letter, so may things that are out of line with your will also come to an end. So it's the end of a phase in the year. And so in Genesis chapter 22, we read about the testings of Abraham. After what happened in Genesis chapter 22, God said, now I know that you fear me. Now I know that you fear me. Abraham has had, tests of faith. Leave your father's house, look at the stars, change your name, different things. But when he came to chapter 22, God said, now I know. Now I know. So the 22nd is an end point. This is not the end of the year, but I want you to know that prophetically something will come to an end this week, and I'd like you to hold on to it. Believe it in your heart, confess it with your mouth, and act it. Something is coming to an end. This will just be the end for something. Maybe an affliction in the body, maybe an end to waiting for something that you've been trusting God and believing that this, as we come into this 22nd week, it just ends. In Matthew chapter 24, they said nobody ever asked Jesus another question. They came to test him. Nobody ever asked him other questions. It was like the end of trials. By the time they asked him, by whose authority you do this, and they asked them some questions, they found that the wisdom he had was just too much and nobody worried him with other questions. So it's an end point. Now trust that this 22nd week will bring certain things to an end for you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. And let me also say that this week for some people, this will be a season of appointment with important people. A season of appointment with important people. That it will be a week of appointment with kings, with rulers. For someone, this is a word that this is the week of appearing before the mighty. But as you appear before the mighty, you're going to learn something, as I'm going to share something else. In the book of Numbers, chapter 22, we're told that the king of Moab, the kings, sent messengers to Balaam, to consult him for something. That's huge. So this is a week of appointment with dignitaries, with people that matter. And that's a word for somebody. You've been waiting for that appointment. It's going to come. You're going to appear before people that matter, someone that matters. And it will also be a temptation for you, but that's part of what the Lord is going to be doing this week. So in Numbers chapter 22, the Balaam had visitors from the king. Important people visited him to consult him. In the 22nd book of the Bible is a story about a bride